It was a quiet morning when I received a message from my online boyfriend. I felt my face heat up as I read his words.
Hey sis, why were you calling out all night?
I typed back shyly, unsure of what had happened.
I wasn't.
You definitely were. Don't be embarrassed to admit it, sis.
His playful tone made me blush even more.
Look, I know you're an adult now, but
I truly couldn't remember what had transpired last night.
Help.
Admitting that felt like I was being an emotionless jerk.
sis,
I could almost hear his pitiful voice calling me sis.
sis, you'll take responsibility, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I nodded vigorously, feeling a mix of emotions.
What are you doing now?
Thinking about you.
I glanced over at my husband, John Smith, who was busy on his phone.
I'm just sitting around, might as well chat with you.
He added a cute blushing emoji, making my heart skip a beat.
Good boy.
I sent back a cute head-patting emoji, feeling conflicted. But with a demanding husband at home, I still had to prepare his meeting materials.
I think about divorcing that jerk every day.
Why do you want a divorce so badly?
Because after the divorce, I can focus on taking care of you.
No way, I want to earn money to take care of you and spend every day with you.
Every day. His words were too sweet to resist.
No worries, I can take care of 10 of you.
Even if there are 10 people like me who love you, I will only love you.
His sweet talk had me completely under his spell. Unlike John, who only made me organize meeting materials he could easily do himself.
John Smith doesn't understand women at all.
I glanced at John and noticed something unbelievable. His ears were slightly red. It was absurd. It was just a message to meet his little fling. Why was he blushing like a shy schoolboy? But this was good. Our contract marriage was just a business deal from the start. We maintained a peaceful coexistence, appearing loving on the surface but living our own lives, not interfering with each other.
Let's get a divorce.
John remained silent. As the CEO of Norton International, John Smith was indeed exceptional, almost perfect in both his career and appearance. Despite the unusual dynamic, my online boyfriend, who loves to call me Big Sister and act cute, isn't bad at all.
Big sister, I don't usually take selfies, but…
After much persuasion, he finally yielded and sent me a photo of himself working out. He mentioned he was a bit shy and had cropped out his face.
I hope you don't mind.
His fair, smooth skin, the defined, solid muscles, exuding the undeniable charm of a young man. I saved it immediately. Those who say online boyfriends are weak and unreliable are just spreading rumors. I hit back hard, none of it is true. Taking a deep breath, I turned to John Smith, my husband.
Our arranged marriage has already made us unhappy. Why not cut our losses and get a divorce?
Even though I knew that divorce was an unlikely outcome for us, unless this man named John Smith could act cute, or at least smile. John Smith didn't respond. He silently took his coat from the rack, probably to meet his little lover.
I know you have someone else.
We had long been aware of each other's affairs, but neither of us had addressed it openly.
Stop making a fuss and get the documents ready for the meeting at 10 tomorrow.
I knew my efforts were in vain. His indifferent demeanor was unbearable.
What a show-off. Do you think you shouldn't be called out for your actions just because you're Mr. Smith? Humph. Stop being so self-righteous. The tides always turn, and the grass will greet me. We'll see who wins in the end.
With renewed determination, I picked up my phone to continue my online romance with my cute boyfriend.
About last night.
Big sister really doesn't remember?
What could have happened last night, other than having drinks with my friends? Though I did black out and I really don't remember what happened after that.
I know it sounds irresponsible, but I really don't remember.
My heart pounded wildly. Could it be that I spent a wonderful night with my cute boyfriend, solidifying our relationship?
Let's just keep it as our little secret.
Great, now I'm in deep trouble. I wondered if I should throw my shame and embarrassment into the trash. Would I need to sort them for recycling? I had tried everything to get a divorce from John Smith, like pouring pumpkin juice into his favorite truffle mushroom soup, buying fake gifts for his parents, and doodling on his important contracts. No matter what I did, John Smith remained indifferent. He never got angry with me.
John Smith, if you were a real man, you'd get angry with me at least once. It's not like I'm asking you to do something extreme. Just get angry. How hard can it be?
Suck. But never mind, the most important thing now is to win over my cute online boyfriend. Emily glanced at the time. I nodded in agreement on the surface, then added a concentrated pumpkin juice to John Smith's black truffle mushroom soup. That taste would surely be uniquely tangy. I deeply felt that the progress of my separation from John Smith was like a high-speed train. Seeing the bright future ahead, even my tone while chatting with the young pup was 8 degrees lighter than before.
It seems we've been talking about me a lot lately. Have you encountered anything recently?
I'm sorry, sis. I've been quite busy with work lately and
What's wrong?
After a moment of silence, the young pup spoke up.
sis, I think a female colleague at work is trying to harm me.
I couldn't help but laugh and asked sincerely.
What method did this female colleague use?
The young pup explained that this female colleague put his least favorite food in his meal. I was taken aback and sympathetically replied.
That's quite unfortunate for you.
After expressing my sympathy for the young pup's situation, I didn't forget to close the gap between us.
It's okay. In the future, I can cook for you.
After John Smith, the big boss, showed his power, I was practically delighted by the chaos. The next second, I sped off to my usual haunt, the Tomorrow Tavern, to celebrate. After all, although I don't have many hobbies, I do enjoy having a drink now and then. One of the reasons is to distract myself from the possibly not so unfortunate green marriage.
Sis, you can cook? That's impressive. I can cook too. I can cook for you.
Great. You cooking for me sounds wonderful.
Thinking about my great creation of black truffle mushroom soup with concentrated pumpkin juice, I proudly tapped my freshly done nails on the keyboard.
Of course, I can cook. My specialty is black truffle mushroom soup.
The young pup fell silent. Dear brother, it's normal that you don't understand. Although black truffle mushroom soup is a delicacy, adding concentrated pumpkin juice makes it something you wouldn't want to taste again in this lifetime. I just wonder if John Smith has no sense of taste. He could actually drink such a dark cuisine, which made me add concentrated pumpkin juice this time. But it's okay. At least this time I finally made John Smith angry. Even if just a little bit. I was in an unusually good mood today, feeling like a liberated serf singing songs.
John Smith. Oh, Smith, you have her perfume scent on you, Mr. Smith. Oh, Mr. Smith, love isn't something you can buy just because you want to buy.
I even sang and danced at the same time. I must have been really drunk, but maybe not, because I remember sending messages at a speed of 5 per second, begging for hugs. I kept asking the young pup to send me voice messages to lull me to sleep. The young pup couldn't handle it anymore and sent a short voice message, only 3 or 4 seconds long, amidst my bombardment of messages. But it was too dark that day and the young pup quickly retracted the message, so I didn't hear it clearly. I woke up to find myself not in a tavern, but in my own bed at home.
What happened yesterday? Why can't I remember?
Emily tried to piece together her memories, but everything felt fuzzy. She remembered praising the great achievements of Mr. John Smith, part of her routine work, and receiving a voice message from her sweet young admirer.
What did he say again? Something about my name and if I was feeling unwell.
She chuckled, remembering how pleasant his voice was. But the biggest surprise was the message from her admirer, asking to meet.
Am I still drunk? Did I confuse Mr. Smith with my sweet admirer?
Just then, a message from Mr. Smith startled her, almost making her jump out of bed.
Why do I always feel intimidated by John Smith?
She patted her chest confidently, feeling her conscience was still intact.
Awake?
He sent a voice message along with a zip file.
You foolish woman, if you mess up the meeting materials again, don't even think about stepping out of the Smith family.
Just wait and see. The day I walk out of the Smith family will be the day I parade around, cursing your family.
Despite her strong words, she knew how futile it was. Family alliances were never decided by the parties in the marriage. Dejected, she tossed her phone onto the bed.
If I ever thought my sweet admirer and that cold-hearted ghost were alike, my brain must have been soaked in pumpkin juice with olive oil.
Feeling wronged, she wailed to her sweet admirer.
Boo-hoo, the big meaness scolded me again, Titi.
Don't cry, sis. There.
I really just want to divorce him.
But sis, if you're so busy, we won't be able to meet tomorrow.
No worries, I'll just hire someone to take care of John Smith while he's in the restroom.
The sweet admirer hesitated.
Sis, that's illegal.
No worries, I'm the mastermind, you'd just be an accomplice. We'd be partners in crime, sentenced to be together.
She slapped her thigh, thinking the plan was brilliant.
I'll order a knife for same-day delivery tonight.
Unfortunately, John Smith seemed to have a sixth sense. He didn't come home all night. But it didn't matter to Emily. She hugged her pillow, rolling around on the spacious double bed, and slept soundly all night.
Humph.
Upon waking up, Emily imagined that the detestable capitalist, John Smith, must be running around frantically due to the missing meeting materials.
Great, in my battle plan to divorce John Smith and marry my young lover, I feel I could work even harder than a farm mule.
Thinking about this, she couldn't help but roll around on the bed in excitement. Finally, she lay on her back, holding her phone, and started messaging her young sweetheart.
Shall we meet at the Welcome Inn tonight at 8?
It wasn't until the afternoon that her young lover replied.
Sister, it's the Heartfelt Hotel.
Emily sensed he seemed preoccupied, as if hiding something from her.
All right, the Heartfelt Hotel.
What do you like to eat? I can order in advance when I get there.
She didn't hold back and quickly typed out a list of her favorite dishes in the chat. Just as she was about to hit send, she realized something was off.
Ahem, as a forever 18-year-old girl, I need to be reserved.
So she deliberately replied coyly.
Just a portion of the double pine nuts dish will do, I don't eat much.
Speaking of the Heartfelt Hotel, she didn't quite understand why her young lover chose this place for their meeting.
This hotel is expensive, and its cuisine is quite niche, hardly known to many. However, its diverse and unique interior themes later made it a hotspot for secret gatherings among the elite. Given his persona as a fresh graduate, he shouldn't be able to afford such high expenses. But that's okay, if necessary, I could always support him financially. Heartfelt Hotel.
This hotel, formerly known as the Welcome Inn, reminded her of when John Smith proposed to her here under his father's pressure.
Many elites attended that day, crowding the entire lobby. The dazzling roses covered the path John Smith walked towards me. The scene was so overwhelming that words couldn't describe it. For a moment, I even thought that a grand wedding procession might not be as impressive.
Emily Johnson, marry me.
As soon as he spoke, she didn't know how many socialites in the city were heartbroken and screaming. Cheers, screams, whispers, and even curses filled her ears.
But I knew John Smith didn't actually love me. He married me only because he couldn't defy his father's orders. The so-called strong alliance turned our marriage into a business transaction between companies. And deep down, a voice told me what I wanted was never to be manipulated by anyone.
She wore a carefully chosen lace slip dress. Looking at her exquisitely made-up self in the vanity mirror, she smiled and tightened the cap on her lipstick, anticipating her first meeting with her young lover.
One's happiness must be fought for.
But just as she was admiring herself, she heard the door click. Her heart sank.
Oh no, John Smith is back.
Feeling guilty, she dashed. On John Smith's perpetually stern face, I couldn't catch any valuable emotion. My intuition told me that John Smith might have been drinking. This was a very dangerous sign. John Smith silently loosened his tie and walked towards me step by step. For a moment, I was so nervous that even my gaze had nowhere to settle. In my panic, I caught sight of John Smith's disheveled shirt collar. Following the sharply defined collarbone downwards, on his exposed fair skin, I found no subtle marks. Strange, was John Smith always this principled? At this moment, John Smith was closing in on me, and I was so startled that I kept retreating until my back touched the cold wall. I was cornered by John Smith.
John Smith, you.
I could only barely support myself against the wall with my hands.
You deliberately sent me a blank file and drew little animals in the document?
The unexpected situation made me choke with guilt. Facing John Smith's suddenly magnified handsome face, I could feel all my senses being sharply heightened. I could distinctly feel his every breath, his warm body temperature. I truly felt unworthy of the organization's trust, as my heart began to race uncontrollably. Even the cold cedar scent emanating from John Smith and his invisible aura of pressure made me too scared to breathe. John Smith hummed a sound from his throat, sounding lazy and casual, like a cat purring in its sleep.
So what if I did?
John Smith didn't speak. His gaze wandered downward, from my eyes to my lips, from my neck to my shoulders, from the delicate straps to the provocative hem of my short skirt, and then back to my face.
Dressed like this, who are you planning to meet?
His voice was low and husky, making his already magnetic voice even more alluring.
Who I meet has nothing to do with you.
You never dressed like this before.
John Smith's eyes dimmed, making it hard to discern his emotions. John Smith had never spoken like this before. My intuition told me that John Smith might be drunk. This was an even more dangerous sign. I started to panic unconsciously, my eyes darting around.
That's because...
John Smith pinched my chin, not too hard, but enough to force my gaze to linger on his face. I stared into John Smith's eyes, which were no longer sharp and deep, but moist and gentle.
It's not like I'm not wearing clothes.
My voice grew smaller and smaller, almost swallowed entirely by John Smith's shadow.
Do you really not want to wear clothes? Should I help you?
Please, Mr. Smith, let me through. I need to go out.
When I used the last bit of my strength to try to break free from John Smith, surprisingly, he didn't stop me. I took a few steps forward, taking deep breaths of the exceptionally fresh air. Help, run away. My inner voice screamed frantically, my hands. The room was filled with an uncomfortable silence, broken only by John's unexpected question.
Do you like him?
I was taken aback, instinctively knowing who he was referring to. John and I had always had an unspoken understanding about our extramarital affairs. But this was the first time he showed concern for me, and it was about my online romance. The contrast between the proud and aloof John and my gentle and caring online partner made me feel both angry and aggrieved.
"It's my back to John," I replied bitterly.
My voice carried a hint of resentment.
"I'm not like you, treating relationships so casually, willing to get close to any woman."
I was trying to provoke him, sensing his every move behind me. Would he get angry? Deep down, I feared his anger but didn't want him to be indifferent either. The silence stretched on and John made no response. I couldn't tell if what I felt was disappointment. Calming myself down, I spoke again.
"If there's nothing else, I'll be going."
Just as I was about to take my first step, John suddenly embraced me. For a moment, I was enveloped by his warmth and the slightly awkward fragrance of his cologne.
Don't go.
His arms closed around me, gripping my somewhat frail shoulders. Once again, I could clearly feel the heat of his chest and the warmth radiating from his hands. My heart raced, almost leaping into my throat from the intensity. Trying to calm myself, I asked softly,
"Did you stay up all night?"
John's response was simple yet affectionate. He began nuzzling my neck, his hair tickling me and making my heart itch. All these unusual signs indicated that John was probably really drunk. Seeing the usually cold and distant CEO being so obedient for the first time, I couldn't help but smile and feel mischievous. Tentatively, I called out to him.
John Smith?
He didn't respond, just burrowed further into my neck. Feeling emboldened, I asked,
No matter what I say, will you tell the truth?
His voice was muffled but sincere. I decided to test him.
I deleted your important documents and drew a pig on them. Were you angry?
No.
I didn't organize the materials you asked me to. Were you angry?
No.
I added pumpkin juice to your favorite soup. Were you angry?
No.
So no matter what I do, you won't get angry?
John blinked, his answer consistent. It seemed that no matter how imposing the great CEO was in front of others, he still couldn't resist the effects of alcohol. My mischievous mind whirred, and I continued to ask with ill intent.
So, did you get angry when I started an online romance with my gentle partner?
John didn't speak but held me tighter. My curiosity grew and I teased further.
Why aren't you saying anything?
At this moment, John silently released me and pulled me to face him. He looked into my eyes and said seriously,
I'm not angry.
The room fell into a poignant silence, the weight of his words hanging in the air. The room was dimly lit, and the air held a faint scent of alcohol.
Really? I still can't believe it.
John Smith nodded heavily, his eyes sincere.
Yes.
Hearing John's heartfelt words, Anna felt a twinge of melancholy. It seemed that John would never get angry with her, not even now.
Do you have someone you like?
John nodded decisively and pulled Anna into a gentle embrace. The usually aloof CEO was surprisingly affectionate when drunk, but it wasn't annoying at all.
Yes.
Anna let him hold her, feeling his warmth and the faint scent of alcohol mingled with his natural fragrance.
Who is it?
The silence stretched, and as the weight on her shoulder grew heavier, Anna realized John might have fallen asleep.
John Smith.
It seemed he was truly asleep. Anna silently clenched her fist, regretting that she couldn't take advantage of this golden opportunity to find out who John's secret love was. She carefully helped the drowsy John lie down properly. Just as she was about to leave, John grabbed her hand.
John.
Don't go.
His eyes remained tightly shut, his face slightly flushed. He held Anna's wrist with surprising strength.
All right, I won't go.
Sister.
The low murmur pierced sharply into Anna's ears. She froze.
Wait, did he just say, Sophia Williams?
Searching her memory, Anna couldn't recall anyone named Sophia Williams. Could it be that John's affair was with her? And in his drunken stupor, he mistook Anna for her? The thought made perfect sense, yet it also filled Anna with jealousy.
How embarrassing. I let the green-eyed monster get the best of me.
The next day, Anna stood in the chairman's office of the Smith Group, gathering her courage.
What's up?
John, as usual, wore a cold, unapproachable expression.
Just out of curiosity, who is this top socialite Sophia Williams?
John didn't say a word. For a moment, his disdainful gaze made Anna feel like an idiot. Reflecting on the previous night, she started to doubt herself.
Could it be that I was just confused in my sleep? Maybe John didn't call out that name, and everything that happened last night was just a dream?
Just as she was about to convince herself, her eyes fell on a familiar spot, the button on John's collar. The top button of his white shirt was missing, making the already loose collar reveal more than it should.
Your button. Would you like me to sew it for you?
As soon as she said it, Anna regretted it. How foolish of her. The chairman of a top-tier company, John Smith, needing her to mend his shirt? He could easily get a new one.
Oh.
John looked at her with a half-smile, making it hard to tell if he was mocking her or just found it amusing.
Well, if there's nothing else, I'll be going.
Stop.
John stood up and clearly enunciated.
Are you suggesting I take off my shirt here?
The atmosphere grew tense, and Anna's heart started racing uncontrollably.
What are you trying to do?
Isn't it what you want to do?
He emphasized the word do with noticeable weight. His long, slender fingers tugged at his tie, loosening it further.
It's not.
As he approached, the cold scent of cedar and pine on him became more pronounced. With his towering height, Anna was completely overshadowed by John. Just as she was feeling utterly confused and helpless, a warm touch landed on her forehead, like the touch of her mother's fingers when she had a fever as a child. Only this time it was warm instead of cool. John's kiss was light and gentle.
Let's go.
John ordered nonchalantly.
I won't do anything until you're willing.
His tone remained distant and cold.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, you flirt and then run away without taking responsibility.
You have someone you like.
So John remembered last night. She just didn't know how much he remembered. Thinking about it made her even more embarrassed. Feeling utterly humiliated, Anna left the company building and sent a message to her puppy.
I really don't get it. Who does Mr. Chairman actually like?
The puppy showed typing for a moment, then nothing. She stared at her phone screen for a while before his message finally arrived.
Maybe he really loves you.
She couldn't quite grasp what he meant. Could it be that her puppy doesn't actually love her, but instead has feelings for her contract husband? That would be John Smith, the capitalist? Her face was still burning and her mind was in a fog.
Ms. Johnson.
Could it be that the puppy approached her because he admired John Smith? The more she thought about it, the worse it seemed.
Ms. Johnson, please wait.
Anna turned around and realized the voice was addressing her. Ms. Johnson, it had been a long time since anyone called her that. The person was a professional-looking woman in a beige short suit, a typical career woman. Though she wore only light makeup, she seemed unfamiliar to Anna.
And you are?
I'm Jessica Brown, the secretary to Chairman John Smith of the Smith Group. Colleagues call me Jessica informally.
Anna was speechless. Sophia Williams, Jessica. Oh my, so this is the real deal, huh?
What can I do for you?
Jessica glanced at her watch, adjusted her glasses, and said,
I assume you're in a hurry, so I'll get straight to the point.
Please, go ahead.
According to Mr. Smith, you might have misunderstood the nature of our relationship.
I was taken aback.
What? So John Smith has already told his little sweetheart?
A few nights ago, Mr. Smith canceled an important meeting with Norton International at the last minute. Before he left, he sent a voice message to someone, and he mentioned your name.
My name?
Jessica nodded confidently.
Yes, your name, Emily Johnson.
I tried to recall any connection to this information.
Where did he go that night?
Jessica thought for a moment and then said with certainty.
According to the itinerary, it was the Tomorrow Tavern.
What? Could it really be such a coincidence? Could it be that the person who took me home that night was actually John Smith? How is that even possible?
I distinctly remember that I only sent my location to my little puppy, and I even received a reply from him, asking if I was feeling unwell.
Did Mr. Smith say anything else besides mentioning my name before he left?
Jessica recalled seriously.
He seemed to have mentioned something like not well.
I was speechless.
Not well, huh? That certainly sounds like John Smith's usual style.
Jessica realized her slip and quickly explained.
Miss Johnson, I apologize. It's been a while, and I can't remember the exact details.
Could it be that I mistakenly sent a message meant for my little puppy to John Smith, and he responded with a voice message asking if I was unwell? The more I thought about it, the more that recalled voice message sounded like John Smith's voice.
It's okay, please continue.
Jessica nodded and went on.
Because of that missed appointment and the subsequent failed negotiations, Mr. Smith was heavily pressured to drink at the dinner party.
When did this happen?
Just last night.
At this point, I had no reason not to believe it. My little puppy and John Smith were the same person. When John Smith suddenly returned last night, I urgently sent a message to my little puppy to abort the deal due to an insider. This morning, my little puppy apologized, saying,
"It's okay, sis. I was drinking last night too, and didn't get a chance to reply."
It's fine.
From John Smith's rare instance of getting drunk to my little puppy, who never drinks, being hungover and replying the next day, all happened on the same night. If they weren't the same person, there would be no reason for such a coincidence. In an instant, surprise, joy, embarrassment, and even awkwardness all surged within me, mingling together. I could hardly imagine the usually cold and distant Mr. Smith pretending to be the little puppy I liked online, just to get close to me. How much must he like me? He could soften his sharp edges as a CEO, change his demeanor, and envelop me with his unparalleled gentleness. I could even picture a proud and aloof CEO clumsily learning to speak like a little puppy, trying to flirt and say sweet nothings. And his awkward, dry expressions. I couldn't quite grasp what that felt like. The only thing I knew was that it probably felt like a little bear tasting honey for the first time. Besides the thrilling sweetness, it was the novelty of the first time that made. Emily stood in her office, pondering the recent developments.
Jessica, the negotiation partner is Norton International, right?
Yes, that's correct. Why do you ask?
Just making sure. Thank you.
Jessica wisely didn't probe further.
Then I won't disturb you any longer. Goodbye, Miss Johnson.
After Jessica left, Emily took out her phone, composing a message to her young admirer.
It doesn't matter if he likes me, I already have someone I care about.
She sent the message and then deleted the contact, uninstalling the dating app altogether. A gentle breeze brushed against her face, stirring sentimental memories.
When I first thought John had found someone else, I was so indignant. I challenged him outright.
She remembered her defiant words.
It's always the rise and fall of fortunes, with the grass greeting me from above. Mr. Smith, we'll see about that.
Her thoughts continued, realizing the depth of her feelings.
The rise and fall of fortunes, unwavering till the end. And when it comes to being unwavering, I truly am.
She smiled, thinking of the absurd misunderstandings that had once driven a wedge between them.
Misheard sleep talking from a sister to a Sophia, causing Jessica to clarify, what a big misunderstanding. But it's good that it's you, John, always you.
Emily had always believed that forced things weren't sweet. Yet her marriage, which began under family pressure, turned out to be unexpectedly fulfilling.
The most beautiful thing is that the person I like also happens to like me.
Despite the pranks and complications she caused at work, John never scolded her or got angry.
I should have realized it sooner.
Mustering up courage, she sent John a message.
Come home early today.
That evening, John returned looking very upset, his expression dark and brooding.
You're home early today.
John ignored her, his mood evidently sour.
How's work? Going well?
Still, John remained silent.
How's Jessica doing?
That finally provoked a reaction.
Emily Johnson, have you had enough?
Emily was taken aback by his outburst, feeling both surprised and aggrieved.
No.
John's expression remained cold, his sharp eyebrows furrowed.
Really?
It was the first time Emily saw such raw emotion on his face. They stood in silence until John finally broke it, sitting down on the sofa.
Let's get a divorce.
Emily was stunned, her mind buzzing with confusion.
What did you say?
She couldn't believe her ears, the weight of his words crashing down on her. John didn't respond, instead lighting a cigarette in silence. John Smith rarely indulged in smoking. The last time he did, it was at his mother's funeral. Everyone was wiping their eyes, even John Smith's usually stoic father showed a few insincere tears. But John Smith walked into the gloomy rain without an umbrella and lit a cigarette.
I didn't know if he cried. I only knew that his mother treated me very well when she was alive.
Emily Johnson, let's get a divorce.
Why?
Isn't this the result you've always wanted?
The result I wanted?
The atmosphere became quiet again. Through the swirling smoke, Emily couldn't see John Smith's expression clearly.
You've always wanted to divorce me.
So now you want to divorce me? Why?
I should have let you go a long time ago.
Why now?
You have someone you like. That person isn't me.
Emily felt a wave of relief. At least John Smith didn't want a divorce because he didn't care for her anymore.
I remember you didn't say it like this before. You used to call me a sister so affectionately, and you said you wanted to earn money to support me. Even in your dreams, you called out sister.
John Smith was about to respond, but Emily interrupted him. She stood on tiptoe, wrapped her arms around his neck, and kissed him passionately yet clumsily. But before she could proceed further, John Smith pushed her away.
Emily Johnson, are you out of your mind?
I like you, little brother, I like you, John Smith.
John Smith's throat moved, clearly stunned by her confession.
I found out that my online crush is you, and I also know that you actually.
Emily couldn't bring herself to finish the sentence. It was too embarrassing.
I just don't know, that night you mentioned.
Which night?
That night.
Emily noticed the sly smile on John Smith's face. The tension in the room was palpable as Emily Johnson and John Smith faced each other.
Who would have thought that the eldest daughter of the Jiang family, Emily Johnson, would care about her own reputation?
Emily's cheeks flushed with embarrassment and anger.
If you don't want to say it, then don't. No one's forcing you.
Nothing happened that night. You got tipsy as usual, and I took you home.
Emily only heard the first part and automatically ignored the rest.
Oh, John Smith, you're messing with me.
John frowned and suddenly moved closer to her.
What did you call me?
Husband.
Only then did John respond with a satisfied,
Why did you do it? Why approach me through the internet?
John was silent for a long time before he finally spoke.
I actually wanted to tell you when we met last time.
What?
John gazed at her intensely.
I want you to truly fall in love with me, not because of my status, but because of who I am.
Suddenly, Emily understood. There were no accidents or coincidences. It had always been part of a long-planned scheme.
So, when you acquired the Welcome Inn and chose to meet there, it was because...
Yes, may the river flow and reflect your heart, my heart remains pure as ever.
Emily recalled their childhood, remembering how John had kept her line of poetry for many years.
I'm sore.
Before she could finish, John interrupted her.
Don't apologize.
He gently cupped her face and spoke seriously.
Instead, think about how you're going to make it up to me for deceiving me for so long.
In Emily's eyes, the usually composed CEO suddenly seemed like a child asking for a reward.
I know this one. I've already reviewed the detailed information about Norton International in the file you sent me last time.
She paused and proudly puffed out her chest.
So
you called the vice president of Norton International and hinted that if they continued to pressure the Smith Corporation, your family would immediately reconsider their investment.
So you knew all along.
John ruffled her hair, his gaze returning to her face.
Don't you trust your man's capabilities?
Emily's face instantly turned red. John continued to tease her.
Isn't there a certain sister who always seems reluctant to wear clothes in front of me?
Before Emily could argue, John leaned down and kissed her deeply. After that, Emily never foolishly doubted John Smith's capabilities again. The end.